In Paragould, there was a single complaint. From what I understand, a complaint. So I guess the person who complained, now that he or she got what they wanted, I guess that one person feels pretty powerful. As a matter of fact, I would argue that the Greene County Tech school board or superintendent is the one who empowered the person who complained. There was a complaint from an area resident, and yada, 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 Greene County Tech primary school took down the nativity scene from their bulletin board. This involves the school counselor by the name of Kay Williams, and she normally, every year, puts up a nativity scene, and according to the Jonesboro Sun's article here from the Paxton News Bureau, been doing it 20 years. But she was told last week, because of a complaint. Yeah,
hey, Paul, Jerry Hossel, however you want to say it.
Okay, Hossel.
Or in this case, it'd be a hassle, I guess, but anyway.
Yeah, maybe that's what the Greene County Tech school thinks about right now. So tell me what you know about this story. How did you come to know about everything going on with it?
A minister friend locally who has a child in that school came into my office Monday morning and told me about it. He knew that the work I've done in the past, I do a lot of work educating people about what our religious heritage is in our country and what the rights are, and I've even held seminars on students and teachers' rights based on the U.S. Department of Education, Arkansas state guidelines for religious instruction, what's allowed, what's not allowed, and things like that. I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a concerned citizen. But anyway, in short, he told me what was going on. I fired out a really cordial email to Mr. Noble and just asked him, kind of make sure I'm hearing right, and he expressed again his desire that it wouldn't be this way, but he was actually told that if someone else wanted to put up a display that was, another one, i.e. an atheist, say, a group or something, that he wasn't going to let them. And so I told the person, well, one is he can't really take this one down, and two, he can't keep the others from going up. It works all both ways, whether you agree with people or not. And so anyway, I told him, I said, it is okay. I can help you with this if if you're interested in documentation showing where it's been proven okay and what have you. But anyway, he just said, well, right now we just think we ought to take it down. Then I went back and I said, well, I don't think that's good legal counsel because I can show you otherwise, and I'd be glad to share this, if you desire to. And they said no. Then
hang on, let me stop you. Let me stop you there. So did Greene County Tech actually just declined? They didn't even want to see the memos? They didn't even want to see, your version of the legal standard?
No, he didn't say don't send it, but he said, I said, well, can I send it to your legal people then? And I said, who do you have on retainer? And he told me Don Nixon. And I said, well, I will, if you want me to send it to help you, I will do that. And he didn't reply back.
Okay.
In the meantime, Kay Williams had contacted me, and she was going through some other auxiliary issues that really are more personnel issues at Tech that we don't need to get into.
Okay.
On this, that's more internal, I think, human resource, personnel type things, and that arose from it.
Right.
But I said, my issue is the legality of the nativity scene up in a public school. That's all I'm interested in working on.
Yeah.
Have the authority to, and that's where we, So anyway, she needed to be. She had a meeting of reprimand, and she was due a witness. So she asked me to go be her witness. I've worked with her on some civic matters in the past, and so we were to have a meeting with the school's principal, Ms. Vance, and Mr. Noble for the next day, and we met, or we stayed there about an hour and a half. They never showed up or anything. So at that point, that's the last contact I had with the school administration.
Right.
In the meantime, I arranged for Miss Kay to have since she's the primary party involved, as far as the one that put it up, the one that's required to take down. We have sought and been receiving legal counsel, will be through the Alliance Defense Fund in Washington, D.C., and they are a group who have nationwide legal advice that works on religious liberty, freedom of religion type issues.
It says here that the Alliance Defense Fund is a conservative Christian legal group. It contends that the nativity scene displayed in public school does not violate the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. I know you said you didn't want to go into the personnel issues specifically, but in the paper today, they actually went over a little bit of that. So did she actually take the nativity scene down, or did someone else do it?
No, she was ordered to take it down at about 10 o'clock in the morning. She began to take it down, and by 11 she had some of the border down, and then she had a couple of classes to do. She's a counselor, not a teacher, but she had some classes, and by about 2 o'clock, it wasn't all the way down, and Miss Vance had a Mr. Oxford, someone on staff, to go get her, and they brought her down to the principal's office, and issued her an ultimatum, won't know why it wasn't down, and she said, well, I've been having classes for 3 hours, plus one thing she did immediately that morning, when she was told to take it down, was she fired off an email to the superintendent saying, I really think it's okay. Can I have a few days to check with my lawyer to see what he says? And she never got a reply back. But anyway, when she hadn't had it down by 2 o'clock, Miss Vance got totally upset and ran her out of the building. Said, get your stuff, get out. Don't come back till you hear from us.
Really?
And then by Sunday, yes. And then on Sunday night, she called her on the phone and said, well, go ahead and come back. You know, so that's their issues there.
Wow.
But basically, the Supreme Court, Paul, without hogging your program now, the Supreme Court has, ruled in cases that says there's the Establishment Clause, this part about, Congress not passing a law regarding establishment of religion, the First Amendment. They've upheld cases that says it requires a state to be neutral in its relations with religious beliefs and non-believers. It does not require the state to oppose religion or religious expression. Matter of fact, it says a quote-unquote by Supreme Court decision, quote, affirmatively mandates an accommodation, not merely tolerance, of all religion and forbids hostility towards any. So, the Supreme Court has defined the Establishment Clause as being neutral. This is not being neutral. We have Kwanzaa up. We have Ramadan up. We have Hanukkah up. We have things like this.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's sections that are taught on Kwanzaa. I promise you, I know for a fact in the Jonesboro School District right now,
Yeah.
And there's not a stink being mad about that.
Yeah, it spells out that they can have a nativity scene up there. They can have the word Christmas as long as it is a part of a bigger display that includes secular, as in Santa Claus, Christmas trees, and what have you, which, if you look at the whole wall, it has some of which, of all things, up and down there.
Wow.
So it was in compliance with it. And, we're not here to cause Greene County Tech problems. There's good folks out there.
Yeah.
And I think, deep down, they had to take it down. But one person called that school.
One.
Left no name, left no number, called, said, I don't like it, you better take it down, and hung up.
Yeah, and now that person feels like the most powerful person in Greene County right now. I mean, you just empower these people, and everybody else suffers because of it. I mean, just on a personal note, I mean, you know how many people go to school? I mean, I can't speak for Greene County Tech. I can just speak for around Jonesboro that don't even know why we celebrate Christmas. I mean, they really don't know the real reason behind Christmas. There's a lot of kids in our own city that don't even know.
Exactly. Liberty Council is another group that has been willing to do it. Jay Sekulo's group has been willing, but we only need one. Matter of fact, if you look at the summary of Arkansas State academic standards regarding teachers about the teaching about the Bible and Christianity, it says that in social studies, for instance, in grades K through 4, that we are to use student, family, and community resources to recognize and understand the ethnic, racial, and religious diversity of the United States.
Wow.
Arkansas State Education Guidelines calls for them to use religion to talk about the diversity.
Yeah.
They can use that religion to talk about those others that we mentioned, but when we put a Christian symbol up there, and the reason, this is not Greene County Tech, this is Northeast Arkansas and America. This year's Greene County Tech, next year it'll be another school district.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is get a precedent to understand what we can and cannot do. And I was told by in an email by the superintendent, says, I'm a Christian and I believe that. He says, this is personal belief is nowhere in question here.
Right.
But he said, I believe that we're supposed to obey the law.
Yeah.
Well, we are, unless it says to disobey God's law. But the state law does not say you have to take it down. And I've got eons and eons of cases and legal precedent.
And yet it's down anyway.
Cool.
It's down anyway. Hey,
and yet it's down anyway.
Well, Jerry Hulsell, we really appreciate you calling in. I mean, I didn't plan on you calling in, sir, but I'm glad you were listening, and I really appreciate it. You've been very enlightening today. And if you think of anything else, even today, just feel free to call in and let us know. We got to go to break right now, though, but I really appreciate what you're doing and your activism there. It's to be commended, sir.
Well, we appreciate it, and we're doing it for these kids, and we're teaching them civic lessons here, and then you can teach about standing up for your faith when it comes to home and church. But in school, we'll teach them about standing up for our civil rights.
Amen to that. Well, thanks,
That's
Jerry.
not preaching in the school.
No, thank you. We appreciate it. Back in a sec, folks.